Okay, in the previous video, I mentioned that I was gonna uh, show some gameplay, but I actually remembered that I worked on a health box setup a while back, and I never actually recorded a video just showing what I've got going on for that inside of Kismet. So anyway, all it really is it's just obviously an interpactor, and I've got it on. It's a prefab, and let me just unlock that so I can select the stuff here. So on the box, it's just an interpactor, and then my in the movement there, I've got the physics set to rotating. So typical pickup kind of behavior. It sits there and it rotates infinitely, right? Um, and then I've just got a few other pieces. I've got a light on this that I used to use for doing the guard rays on it. Um, I took that off, but I'm using the light to spawn some stuff, so I just kept it there. So it's basically just a turn off. It can be, in this case, it can be anything. It can be a note, or it can be a whatever. It's just a point of reference that I use to spawn things. I might go back to having the um, the guard rays on there. Let me just the light shafts. See if it actually shows it. I don't think it's turned on. But anyway, the okay, it's not doing it now. Anyway, I used to just use it so that these green bits actually, kind of has the light shafts coming out of them. But the problem I had was because I trigger the basically when I run the pickup for this, I disable everything from this so that it's not in the level anymore after you've picked up the node, and but the light shafts remained, even after I kill the light. So um, I'll have to pretty much kind of rethink that one. I was thinking that maybe I should zero out the scale of the light and then destroy it or something like that. But the fact that the light shaft to remain after I destroy the light, doesn't make me happy. So I don't, I don't wanna have that. Like if I have a bunch of health pickups and there's, I don't want stuff like that. I don't know how that works or why it happens, but anyway. Um, and then uh, I've got a force, the radial force, just to break the box, and I'll show that in the gameplay video. Like when you pick it up, the box gets broken apart. Um, the Kismet for that is actually pretty simple, even though it looks complicated. Um, I've got this is the Kismet that gets created with the prefab, and I've got an in connector, so I can enable the health. So if the player has 100 health, the health boxes are disabled, and as soon as you have lower than 100 health, then the health boxes gets enabled, and that's why I have that. So right now I'm just doing it on level load so I can test the effects and stuff, but that's how that will eventually work. And then when you go into this, so sequence activated, that's what creates that little in thing connector there, right? So sequence activated, and I just use a toggle to switch on the whole event, and then obviously right at the end of this, I've got the finish sequence, which creates the out box. So after I pick up the health, I can then go and say, okay, add this amount of health to the player, or whatever the value of the health is going to be. So this essentially just becomes a node in another sequence that I use to actually apply health. to the player. So this is purely for the effects of it. So I spawn in. What I do is I actually spawn another box, which is a skeletal mesh, to get the ragdoll physics on the pieces, and it's pretty much just I've got the I've got the skeletal mesh, right? It's the exact same as not the exact same, but it kind of looks the same as the static mesh, which the static mesh obviously is placed as an interp actor. The skeletal mesh is actually broken up into pieces, and you can see the seams there where I broke it up into 4 pieces. And the reason why I use the skeletal mesh just to break it instead of just spawning in like 4 um, rigid bodies. It's just it's such a simple object, and I just wanted to keep everything cleaner. So in this way, I can just have like a single object sitting there. I don't have to have 4 separate pieces and then spawn 4 separate things. And I can just have the skeletal mesh, spawn it in, and it's basically the ragdoll that does the effects for me. And so that spawns in the particle spawns in. Got the particle systems there, and I've got this will obviously be better shown in the game, but I've just got some effects spawning in, and the reason why it branches off into all these things is that I've got some effects attached to the 4 pieces that spawns in, and so yeah, that's what's happening here. So I spawn the initial effect, and then I run and I spawn some secondary effects that are actually getting attached, to the actual skeletal mesh that spawns in, and it attaches them to the bones. So they are actually attached to the actual separate pieces there. So that just runs through that. Got a really just small delay there, and then I get I toggle the rigid body or the radial force, and that just throws all the rigid body pieces up into the air and outwards, and then destroy. So destroy the light. After all the particles are done, destroy all the particles. Make sure they're gone. And yeah, I do the collision change there on the rigid body so that they can basically fall out of the level. So when I destroy them, they don't just disappear. I do that for the enemies as well, so they pretty much kind of sink into the ground, and then they get destroyed instead of getting destroyed and they just disappear in front of your eyes. So it's just a little smoother way of getting rid of them, so they kind of sink away and then destroy them. So that obviously happens after all the particles and stuff have settled. Toggle that, destroy, and then that goes into the finish sequence. So that's pretty much, it's actually a pretty simple sequence. It just looks complicated because I spawn all these particles, and I have an active factory for all of them. So yeah, that's the health box setup. So I'll show in the gameplay video, then I'll show what it actually ultimately looks like. It's still effects wise, and that is still very simple and straightforward, but the idea is there, and it's pretty much an idea I had even before I started making any of this stuff. Just an idea that I got for a health box pickup. But anyway, so I'll show that in the next video.